Movies, when they're good, are entertaining. Movies that are great will stick with you. But movies that stand the test of time often teach you something about the world. What these two movies taught me, for example, is this guy really likes it when Emma Stone has sex. If Emma Stone is having sex, he likes it. Sex is liked by him when Emma Stone does it. Sex that is had by Emma Stone blows his mind. Sex before, whack. Sex with Emma Stone.
Oh my God. I get it.
What makes Poor Things successful is the world it creates. The movie kinda says it takes place in the real world, but also, no, it does not. The most compelling parts of the movie come when it leans into that heightened reality. The jump from black and white to color after Bella leaves on her journey is as obvious a Wizard of Oz homage as they come, but the set design and production design are like a Vincent Minnelli musical is taking place down the street. These giant, odd-looking buildings, detailed city blocks, and rooftops, and painted-looking skies could just be another difference between our world and the one Lanthimos makes up. But to insist this is the real world and then make Lisbon look like someone should be fighting Kefka up in the sky is a choice. Because of this, I feel we don't actually know how much of the heightened reality is how things actually are, or if that's just how Bella sees them. In her journey of self-discovery, the concepts of guilt and shame mean nothing to her. You watch Sullivan's Travels, and John getting cut off of his wealth to fall back on is the worst thing that could have happened to him. But even when Mark Ruffalo ganks Bella's trust fund, she just takes a page out of the Grinch's book and fucks to survive. Or if you want to understand the kind of movie Poor Things might be without that, watch Kinds of Kindness, because it is the exact opposite. You get to see Lanthimos' sardonic sense of humor and dialogue directly clash with the plainest presentation the dude is capable of. With Poor Things, it's as if Lanthimos beat the story mode of his directing career, and Kinds of Kindness is him just fucking around with the DLC. Gone is his epic visual scale, or even story consistency. While there are connections thematically between all the segments, it feels like 3 episodes of a Netflix miniseries stitched together instead of something intent on being a singular viewing. The closest I can compare it to is a sprawling character dramedy in the vein of Inherent Vice or Pulp Fiction. There's a common thread of characters on the wrong side of a power dynamic and desperate for approval, but it is so opaque when it comes to the rest of the messages you're obviously supposed to analyze. However stupid a person might say you gotta be to not get the movie, I feel like you have to be even stupider to try and think you even can understand it. The best way I've found to make sense out of it is to just imagine these are humans in a live-action version of the Smiling Friends universe. Charlie's girlfriend getting replaced and gaslit by a doppelganger only he can recognize isn't her is a fucking plausible plot for an episode. Bella Baxter is a reincarnated fusion of a mother's body and her baby's brain, an exquisitely literal transfer of expectations from one generation to the next. There's something to be said for each generation being forfeit to the oppressions of their time, only sequentially getting closer to an equitable world if they're lucky. Bella is the young progressive, dismantling social graces and rules with the earnestness of a child to highlight how they violate common sense.
That last bit was uncalled for and makes no sense. As your odes to my beauty have been boring, but constant, this simple act of letting a strange man ride on me has erased all that.
Both movies poise themselves with themes of sex being used to exercise control, but feel cold in their treatment of the characters experiencing that. Lanthimos coming across enlightened for addressing patriarchal structures feels more important to Poor Things than empathizing at all with their victims. It's not really a movie for women to feel vindicated about their experiences of womanhood, but for aspiring male feminist wife guys to get soapboxy about for liking. A movie they can say deconstructs Bourne's sexy yesterday as a trope, while retaining the male gaze thrills of watching Emma Stone get fucked over and over. Neither movie is only about this, but they at least are a little. It's aggressively surreal, all for ideas it makes very obvious. They will just say the point of the movie sometimes.
So you believe it's me?
Of course. But some men
enjoy that you do not like it.
What?
Characters will trade philosophies with a delivery usually reserved for exposition dumps. It's like an art house Marvel movie, structured just so to get the desired thrills out of its target audience. Sure, the music is more sophisticated, the performances are more convincing, and it is free from all the corporate shackles of a company like Disney, but it's still assembled for the lower art parts of your brain that like those cheap thrills. It's just appealing to the cheap thrills of intelligentsia. Really, it stars a bunch of hot commodity actors, is 90% carried by the visuals, and follows a similar script structure of exposition to action scenes that a Marvel movie would. Now, plenty of other movies fall into that mold, I'm sure, but Poor Things had this hollowness of poignancy at its core that turned me away from thinking it's this genius-level work of art, that things were done for the sake of falling into that mold because it's the most accessible. Neither movie's bad, but they are on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to presentation and subtlety. I would probably rather watch Poor Things again. Kinds of Kindness, though, steals the dog ending from Silent Hill 2, so I can't tell which movie's better.